Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Last night on the radio program, someone called in and asked if I could look into the Kitty Genovese death story from 1964. This is a story all of us have probably heard about at some point in our lives. A woman walking home late at night around 3 in the morning after closing the bar. They said she was a bartender. On her way home, a man came out of the dark and stabbed her and then left her to bleed on the pavement where she screamed out for help. And the story is that over the course of 30 minutes, the man came back at least 2 more times and stabbed her more. And this entire time, she's screaming out for help until she dies over the course of 30 minutes. And out of all the witnesses, nobody called the police. And then making the story even more bizarre, nobody found out about her death until weeks after it happened. So anyhow, this became a big news story, and they used the number of 38 witnesses. They said 38 people witnessed this death. Not a single one lifted a finger to call the police. And authors such as Malcolm Gladwell and more have written books about this incident and talking about, what this reveals about the human being. This death happened in 1964. 4 years later, 1968, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, and this story was one of the prime reasons. A simple 3-digit number for an emergency to reach the police. This happened in New York City. Look at this. The author who put out the article about the 38 witnesses, he was asked years later, why or where did the number 38 come from? People wanted to know why it was continuously written that 38 witnesses didn't call the police. Because people made the logical point. Look, these are apartment buildings in New York City. Hundreds of people live in this area where she was killed. Where are you coming up with the number 38? And while the person who was writing the article was being asked this, do you know how they responded? They responded by running away from the interview and not answering the question. The question was, where did the number 38 come from? This is a prime example of what fake news is contrived by the numbers. And oh, by the way, the same day as my radio show that someone called in, to ask me to do this, one of the headlines last night became this: Paul Horner, writer of fake news about 2016 election, dead at 38. I guarantee you this Kitty Genovese story is completely fake. There's no such thing as Kitty Genovese. I'm just going to show you how obviously fake all of this is. Beyond the bizarre story that makes no sense and the fact that her death wasn't reported until weeks after. Wouldn't the people at the bar notice she wasn't there? Look at this. Here's why the guy ran off the stage. Because the question was too close to home. Look at the woman's name. In reduction gematria, which I've taught since 2013 as the method to know and learn and apply, Genovese, the name of the woman killed, 38. What is 38? It's the death number. Death 38, murder 38, killing 38, RIP 38, stabbing 38. Supposedly she was stabbed to death over the course of a half hour in 3 separate attacks. Just how far-fetched does it sound? Even a psychopath wouldn't stab somebody, run away for 10 minutes, come back, stab him again, run away for 20 minutes, come back, stab him again. Story makes no sense. And here's where it gets even funnier. Her name is Kitty Genovese, KG. Look at the name of the neighborhood this happened in. The Kew Gardens, KG, Kew Gardens. Look at what Kew Gardens equals in gematria. 163? That's the 38th prime number. Genovese 38. 163, the 38th prime. Death 38. Story of death and no one calling. These other numbers too. Kew Gardens equals 44. So does kill. 55, sacrifice. 107, the word military equals 107. 107 is the 28th prime. Kill also equals 28. Militaries for killing. We live in a military police state. With regards to the Kew Gardens KG initials and Kitty Genovese KG initials, K's the 11th letter, G's the 7th. 11, 7. 117. The United States of America equals 117. Number 13 equals 117 when written out. Think about this nation, 13 colonies, stripes, stars on the flag. It's all masonry. This code all goes back to the Freemason Brotherhood that has run this nation, that is the New World Order, which this nation's a part of, and always has been. It was founded by the New World Order. This Masonic Brotherhood, this New World Order, their entire basis of what they do is in Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism that has everything to do with combining letters and numbers and syncing things up with the dates. Kabbalah in English sums to 38. Guess what it sums to in Hebrew? In Hebrew, this is the word for Kabbalah right here. Hebrew, also 38. And you can verify this yourself. Just go to Google, type in English to Hebrew. Just to get, in case you're new here, English to Hebrew, it's this simple to do. Just type in Kabbalah, you'll get the Hebrew word, and then you can come here to the Gematrinator. You got to pick the Hebrew ciphers. Down below, you got to check these boxes, and then you put in the Hebrew word. There it is, you see? Just copy and paste it in. Hebrew, 38. 137 is the 33rd prime, special number 2. 11, the master number. Kabbalah, the master religion, belief system of the New World Order. And not arbitrarily, you know. Out of all the spiritual knowledge I've ever come across, there's nothing more true than Kabbalah. And that's just stating facts. I think anybody who applies this code and pays attention to the knowledge within, it's undeniable. The New World Order, this is why this secret knowledge. They don't want people to know about the power of these numbers and the relationship with the calendar. There's a reason they create all these rituals by the numbers. Stuff is not arbitrary. You know, listen to my radio show. Every week people call in, learn the knowledge. They decode their own names, their family. They just see how amazingly everything is synced up through the numbers. It's pretty much everyone on this planet. The matrix that we live within, whatever you want to call it. This world, this universe, you know, this code. They say God's the master mathematician. Numbers are perfect. Numbers are absolute. Just like what people say about God. So anyhow, Katie Genovese, a few more notes on this woman's death. So with regards to the man who was blamed for this killing, his name was given as Winston Moseley, pinned on a black man all throughout history. Black people wrongfully accused of crimes they didn't commit. And in this case, looks like a crime that never even happened. But look, Winston Moseley, his name sums to 64, just like the year it happened in. Again, the word kill equals 64. As we talked about, the neighborhood had 44 named gematria like kill. Look at the numbers in his name also. 71, 170, the key digits 1 and 7, kill 17, 208, kill 28. His name's so perfect to be blamed for this killing, this story that doesn't make any sense. And they say that this man died in prison after 52 years for a stabbing. Stabbing 52. So many stories like this throughout history. The exact same. The man who killed Malcolm X, he got 44 years in prison. His name in gematria, Malcolm X's killer, sums to 44. Malcolm X was killed on a date with a life lesson number of 44. Just like Martin Luther King Jr. was killed on a date April 4th. If you write out April 4th, and if you write out 44 as a number, they both sum to 144. Martin Luther King Jr.'s killer died in prison on a date with 144 numerology. Number connected to assassinations. So just imagine it, you know, getting sent to prison for your life for something you didn't do, and then, you know, possibly even being murdered by the numbers in prison after having your whole life wasted. And for what? For the prison industrial complex? It's sad to think that the prison industrial complex makes a lot of money for people, and it's mostly paid for by the taxpayers. We got to wake up, America, and see what's going on in this nation. The propaganda, the fear, the blaming of people who aren't responsible, blaming of Muslims for terrorism where it's not happening, blaming black people for being dangerous, violent criminals on the nightly news, black man, black man, black man. And look at who's doing it all this time, you know? Again, the Kabbalah practitioners. Mr. Rosenthal, Jewish name, you know? It says in the Bible, the false Jews will rule in the end times. In the Bible, the Jews are black. So what's with all these light-skinned Jews that we see in the media and Hollywood, the ones who give us these stories. It's always amazing to me how we just sit by and just let the entire TV media world be Jewish and just don't even blink an eye at it. What's up with that? Why is pretty much all the media Jewish? Why we got all these Jewish people on the TV telling us about everything? News, sports. You know how many fat Jews are on ESPN talking about sports? What do I want to listen to some fat Jew talk about sports for? Not many Jew athletes in the world. Not at all. So anyway, Kitty Genovese, fake news by the numbers. Just yesterday, fake news. Fake news writer found dead at 38 in Phoenix. Well, we know what 38 covers. The story came out yesterday, the Jesuit order's birthday, just like Hugh Hefner, the ritual sacrifice for the Jesuits, as I covered. They said he was actually killed, though, Monday, September 18th. We already talked about a murder on this date. This was a date ripe for killing. And just a few things to look at here. Paul Horner has Gematria 56, like Society of Jesus. The news came out on the Society of Jesus birthday. They said he died outside of Phoenix in Arizona, and he was known for fake news. I just want you to see how fake news, Arizona, and Jesuits sync so perfectly. You see that? All 42s, all 84. Phoenix down on the 33rd parallel. The day he died, date with 44 and 64 numerology. Just talked about this with Kitty Genovese. And it's always the same. It's always the same numbers in these stories. 38, 44. It just happens again and again, 64, same thing, over and over. And by the way, regarding the reporting of Phoenix, this death happening in the Phoenix area, Phoenix has the Gematria 46. So does Catholic, so does religion. This is the Jesuit order's birthday. Sacrifice has Gematria 46. Genesis 46, where this code comes from. The entire Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. Genesis 46 begins with a sacrifice. Remember when Vanity died on the 46th day of the year and I said Prince would be next and I called the exact numbers he died by? Murder 46 and kill 46 in Hebrew. Hebrew and English, a lot of overlaps. No doubt the English language based in the numbers that come from Hebrew. Hebrew's a letter and number system, their alphabet. So is English, but most people don't know that about English. And that's why the reporter, when he was asked about 38, ran out of the room. He didn't want to reveal the dear precious Kabbalah code that the media abides by and makes all their fake news by. That's why this is propaganda right here. Fake news writer. Well, if it's coming from the mainstream media, whatever name is beneath it is a fake news writer. The mainstream media only produces fake news. Only. Exclusively. Nothing else. All propaganda to steer the mind's eye astray. Until next time, true core. One last point about her death. She died March 13th, 64, which was a leap year, which means March 13th was the 73rd day of the year. The word sacrifice equals 73. The World Trade Centers opened in 1973 on April 4th, same day MLK was assassinated in 68. And remember, in 1968, 911 made the national emergency dialing code, World Trade Center construction began, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones, the Masonic Order. Then 33 years later, he became the president, just like Bonesman equals 33, what he was, just like false flag equals 33. Then also that year, 33 years later, we get 911 on September 11th, the National Emergency False Flag. 44, 73, numbers of death and killing. World Trade Centers, April 4th, 73. All part of the sign that those buildings were built just to be brought down the day they were for the ongoing New World Order agenda, which is what we're living out. All right, until next time.